What is going on, YouTube? Good afternoon, you guys. How you guys doing? It's been a while since I've done an afternoon vlog. We got some sun, you know, coming in over here. It's bright, but I got a little surprise for you guys. I had a package come in yesterday. I'm gonna go show you guys. I'm excited. There's new parts for this that I need to get on the car ASAP, so that way when the other new parts get here, we can put those on right away. So let me go show you what those parts are for, and by that I'm assuming you guys could probably guess what the other parts are gonna be. This is gonna be a little hint, so let's see what that is, guys. So there it is, check it out. It's a big old long box from Maximum Motorsports. Let's open this thing, shall we? Ooh, there we go. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to see what's in here? Alright guys, so you have to comment down below what you think's in here. Comment down below. It's paper. Whoever gets paper, you're right. You're 100% right. It is paper. Check that paper out. Guys, guess what? Here's some more of it. Hey, here's some more of it. Guess what? There's some more of it. Hey. Just kidding. Alright, so all seriousness, guys. We have the Maximum Motorsports. The Maximum Motorsports rear brake hose kit. So this kit right here is going to, if you see, you can see these little banjos. They're just going to allow, they're going to give us clearance to get the back without having to grind the factory style bolts. So other than that, that's it. That's in that box. Now we have this guy to open. What's in this guy? Ooh. Paper. Some more paper, guys. There's some more paper. Look, some more paper! I don't know if there's any more in there. There may or may not be. Guys, check that out. Isn't that freaking sweet? Wow. So excited. Oh, that didn't even cut it. That didn't even cut it. Where's the opening? Alright guys, here you go. So if you look right here, we have a toe link. And you can see on this end, it's got a small, they put a piece in it that shrinks the size of the heim, if you can look at it. Okay, so you guys can see they put a little piece in here to kind of adapt it down to a smaller size. This is for the bolt side that goes on the rear subframe. This side over here goes into the back of the knuckle. It is a typical tie rod that, or like your typical tie rod that goes on the end of your steering rack. That's what Ford uses on the end of their toe links that go into the knuckle, and it's tapered. So this is what's going to replace that. Typically it's on the car on the factory, which I'll show you guys later today because I'm probably going to be changing them out, is like that big. So they're pretty big in comparison to these. So what that's going to do is shrink the size of that, which we need to do to be able to put a 15-inch on the back of this car, because typically you have to grind it, and that is what this also is here. So if you guys look, here's the part number on it is MMBK9R. So this is a brake kit for the rear. It's a rear brake hose kit's what they call it. We have in this obviously new hoses, and on this end they have a new banjo bolt, or banjo style, because the factory banjo bolt is really big and it protrudes so high or sticks up so high, you have to grind that down, and you'd have to grind this to fit a 15-inch. So instead, this has a new style or different style that shrinks it down. The bolts aren't as big that go into it. The banjo bolt head, you can see in this bag, it's a thinner head. So we can get that in and get it replaced, and that'll give us the proper clearance, along with, you know, we're going from a rubber line to a braided steel line, which is a good thing, especially when I want to do burnouts and stuff like that. My car has a line lock. This line being steel braided will hold more pressure, which is a good thing. More of the pressure, I should say, will go to actually clamping force versus expanding the line. And then on top of that, this is the bolt kit. and shim kit that comes with this. For, I say shims, I think we just need to put a couple of these guys on top and bottom of this to kind of add the thickness, the proper thickness we need, because factory's like, I think about that long, so that's why it comes with so many of them. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. And you can see these bolts are pretty thin compared to a lot of bolts their size. Usually a bolt that's, you know, that wide is going to have a decent amount of thickness to it as well, but they're thin because we want to have as much clearance as we possibly can when installing this on that end. So this is a pretty cool kit. I'm pretty excited to do this, so let's maybe go jack up the car and get started on it. Alright, you guys, let's get this ball rolling. Let's get the car jacked up. Let's get these parts in it. Take a look. Let's take a look at these tires real quick. See these tires, boys? This side's worn a little bit more than this side, the inside. It's not too bad, surprisingly, especially with the kind of driving I do and the way that the car's set up. And for me, just going back in, if you guys look with these bolts, I just marked them and put them back. And this is, you know, gonna set your camber. So it's very important, you know what I mean, to get this right. And I'm pretty impressed with how well the tire's wearing, as you can see with that. I may, since this side's worn a little bit more than this side, what I may do is, since I have these wheels off, take them to discount, have them break them down and switch sides. That way this will be on the inside, which has a little more meat. These are going to be my street tire. I like them. They're nice to have, and I want them to last a long time. So that's what we're going to do to try and get a little more life out of them, because you can see, guys, on the sidewall, we got some decent meat here. But going back to this, boys, this is what we're going to be changing. If you look at this big old fat meaty link right here, this is the guy that they talk about that they say is the only thing you need to change. This is the tie rod end. A lot of guys take it and tilt it in to keep it from rubbing. I'm going to change it all together. We're going to shrink it, make it smaller. And then on top of that, guys, we're going to probably have to take some good amount of material off this knuckle right here, because it's just big, fat, nasty, big bolt. So when we do that, we're going to grind it probably pretty close to the nut. We'll end up seeing how much we have to take off. But if you come under the car, the top side of these, so if you guys can see there, it's kind of dark, but this is the end in the subframe that we're going to be taking the bolt out of and sliding it out. And it should be a pretty simple install, guys. Freaking kitty cats walking all over the car. But let's go ahead and get the parts, get them set up, and go through the instructions real quick. I want to show you guys what the instructions say. I'm always a big advocate of instructions. Now there's times where you do and don't need instructions, but I always like to read instructions because there's always things you may not know. Especially when it comes to doing modifications on your car, because the people that manufacture this stuff, guys, they know what they're doing for the most part, and they have little tips and tricks for, you know, making it easier and telling you what to do. Sometimes I have really good ways in instructions that says, do this, take this part off, remove this, and do it this way. That specific way usually helps you get it in easier and saves you time in the long run if you do it that way. Now, there are times guys make a killing at dealerships working around the system and finding better ways to take cars apart. That's what Flag Hour is all about. That's what guys do. They figure it out, they go through it, and over time and time again of doing these things, they figure out a quicker and faster way to get this stuff on and off the cars. These links are pretty simple. They give you pretty detailed instructions. I really like Maximum Motorsports. I believe they've always done really good stuff. This kit is really cool. They give you this whole chart here, which is really, really cool. You can kind of set it up for you and the way that you want your car to ride. Maximum Motorsports recommends matching the 0304 Cobra static bump steer curve only for cars that retain the original factory rubber bushings in the rear suspension. So this is critical stuff like I was talking about. You guys want to know this stuff in advance, read through it and know what your car has and set this up to their spec. I love Maximum Motorsports as a company. They've, in my opinion, always had top-notch stuff, and they do their research and they go the extra mile to make this stuff awesome and work really well. I already know that this toe works pretty well for this setup. It's on stock bushings, stock everything. The only thing aftermarket in the back there is the axles, which have no effect on how the suspension travels in any way. So we're gonna set it up to, like I said, as close to factory, or not as close to factory. Since the car's been lowered, there are changes you obviously have to make with a lowered car. Usually the rod has to get shorter from where it is, otherwise, if my tips of my fingers is going forward, it would tilt the wheel towards the inside of the car, because as the wheel, you know, like they say, they have this bump steer curve. As the wheel goes up and down, you're gonna have this rod. The length of the rod is basically static, it's solid, and so as this tire moves up and down on the A-arm geometry, it's gonna get longer or shorter depending on where it's at. If the rod is quote unquote longer, it's acting like it's getting lengthened, it's gonna do what I said and point it towards the inside of the car. As it shortens, it's gonna point the rear wheel towards the outside of the car. See right here, guys, make a vehicle reference mark on the rear face of the steering arm. Take a reference measurement between the reference mark and a point on the tie rod near its inner end. And the reason you do this, guys, is so you can match this. I may do this, or I may just pull the link out and then match it. This is ultimately, in my opinion, the best way to do it, because when you do it this way and you set it back this way, that should be the closest, obviously. I know that it's not always perfect, but obviously this can get you pretty dang close to perfect, guys. But for my sake, I'm gonna go ahead and get an alignment afterwards, so it's not gonna be that big of a deal. I just want to show you guys these cotter pins. Very important to leave these in, or put them back. Even if you don't have one of these, it is better to reuse this than to not have one. So, you know, people like never reuse them. I recommend not reusing them if you have a new one. If you don't have a new one, for the meantime, just throw the old one back in if you can. Throw it around, you know, obviously try and keep it from breaking, but, you know, put it back in. One of them in is better than none of them in. So. Just like alright, guys, let's get the heck under here. Ooh, my back just cracked. Did you guys hear my back crack? All the way down. Can't even see it. It's right there. Can you guys see that? That's the bolt we gotta take out. The nut on top was just spinning. If you guys can see on this, there's this washer we're gonna have to reuse on the 0304 Cobras. Is this top washer they want us to reuse. So we're gonna reuse this top washer, and yeah, we're gonna have to do a combination of stacked up. So I'm just gonna take this nut off, take it out, guys. Not much to see, but I may be able to get it. Oh, check that, boys. Check that. Trying to escape. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this thing is almost spot on from the factory. So the factory length that they set this guy at is literally almost bananas perfect. So I'm gonna leave it good enough for government work. I'm just gonna leave it at that length because I figure it's gonna be easier. So we can basically set this guy up to get him in. Alright, boys, this is what we're gonna do too for this. And we're gonna do, they recommend 3 on bottom and 1 on top, I believe is what they say. It says 3 below, 1 above as a starting inner spacer configuration for the 0304 IRS cars. Alright, boys, as you guys can see, we did it. We got our factory washer on top with our bolt going down. Last time I put it in backwards when I did it because I was a ding in a hurry. But just so you know, the bolt goes from top to bottom, and the reason they do that is in case your nut down here falls off, you won't lose your bolt. It won't fall out. You'll just lose your nut and you'll hear a rattling, but hopefully your bolt will stay in and your toe link won't go flying off, and then you have the death wobble. So, as you guys can see, we got that guy in. We got this end over here just hanging out. He's not, you know, set up yet. I'm gonna go ahead and get the nut started on him, and then I'll show you guys what we're gonna do over here on this end. Alright, guys, as you can see there, we got it set up pretty nice. we might be a little tight on that clearance right there, guys, right here. I don't know, it's pretty close. I'm happy with it. It's not gonna hit, so we're just gonna kind of roll with it and rock with it. If anything, guys, we'll just have to take it out and shim between this guy and on the stud, so we'll see. Alright guys, there it is. That setup's done. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. As you guys can see, I got a little spacer between there. And then I went ahead and they sent me 2 nuts. In theirs, they just show like these nuts being on with the spacer, but I figured, you know what, I'll put these 2 nuts on. Double nut it. They send them. So, and that's the only, that's the only thing these nuts fit. So I figured tighten that, and this will be, you know, it's got the nylon locking, but it's kind of like a double nut. So I did that. I figured better safe than sorry to prevent this guy from potentially falling off. And that in the top, you can see, just goes like that. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna do the same thing the other side, get knocked out, and we'll be putting it back together. One thing I wanted to let you guys know too is that these bars, even though they look like bigger, these guys are quite a bit lighter than these guys. Like, these weigh half of what these weigh, would be my guess. I mean, these guys are a lot, definitely lighter. These guys are definitely lighter and stronger than these. This guy will have a tendency to bend and flex, even though it looks good, looks nice. You see, the problem with stuff like this is it really truly does, it likes to bend. Whereas when you get something like this and it's a tube, it has a lot more rigidity or structural strength to it. So this guy will be stronger, flex less, and is lighter. It's a win-win. Take the tires and get them done. I gotta go to work. You can see they're on. They need to be adjusted. You can see the angle's not perfectly straight. We want them to sit parallel with that, so we'll have to adjust that, both of them, but that'll all get done at the same time when you do an alignment, so I'll have them do that. Alright guys, it's a little bit later. You can see I got this beautiful hairdos. Super sweet hairdos. Come on, babe. That's a monkey if I've ever seen one.
I don't look like a monkey.
Don't mind the monkey over there. Someone's gonna say that's racist. Ow, that really hurt, monkey.
I'm a brown face.
You're a brown face.
Yes.
It's racist.
No, it's not. It's the truth.
Oh, it's the truth. Yeah, she's a brown face. If you're not a brown face, you cannot speak on subjects you don't know. She knows all about them brown face subjects.
Pretty nice mask.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Anyways. We are, well, I say we are, but I am working on this Maximum Motorsports brake line kit. I'm looking at it, going over all the stuff, the parts, reading the instructions like I tell you guys I always do. And when I was going through the instructions, there's a part where they say, use provided black rubber plug to cap off the hard line to minimize air and contaminants getting into the brake line. That's pretty cool, guys. They actually send you these awesome little rubber caps, so that way when you take your brake line off, you can shove these on it and stop it from, like I said, letting more air in, bleeding out, and getting contaminants in. I think that's freaking awesome. Very few companies go, I feel like, this far to make your life easier. And I'm telling you, these little caps, they seem stupid, but when you're doing this job, as soon as you break that line loose, get it free, and stick this on it, it's like you're on hold. You can do whatever you need to do, take as much time as you need to. You could walk away from it and come back tomorrow and still be okay. You know, you wouldn't have all your brake fluid all over the ground and come out to this huge mess if, you know, God forbid you had an emergency or something like that. So I think that's really awesome, guys, and I just kind of wanted to point that out to you guys. We're gonna go ahead and get on with this. We don't have too much to do here. That's basically set up like that, guys. These guys will go through here like that and get locked down. Also, this clip is gonna go on and hold it in place. You're gonna have this started on the other side, and then this end, the banjo end, is gonna go on the caliper with our copper washer on one side of our banjo bolt, put it through, and the copper washer on the other side, and then bolt it down. So very simple, very easy. It's a pretty simple install, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna videotape much of it. I may or may not, and probably not. I may just show you guys like the before and after type thing, because it's really, really simple, guys. This is first grade stuff in my opinion. So let's get on with it. Alright guys, so as you can see here, we got our brake line and it goes back down here to this bracket. This is that bracket that we're talking about. There it is. There's the nut to that brake line that we're going to break loose and take it out, and then we're going to put a rubber cap on that, and then we're going to finish removing the rest of this brake line out of there. This is the bracket right here that goes to the A-arm that I was talking about. You can see the bolt that holds it in, so we're going to take that off. Look how big and bulky this bad boy is. That brick's huge. This dude sticks up a friggin' ton, so we're gonna be lowering the profile of this by, instead of having this whole nut or bolt head sticking up, it's probably only gonna be about as thick as this square, if not thinner than that even when we're done with it. So it's your 12 millimeter. It's a 13, boys. Now you guys want to make sure you don't touch any of your brake fluid hands to your paint because it'll destroy it. So make sure you don't do that. And then look, let's check it out. There it is. See the little black nipple on it hanging out right there. So we got a rubber nipple on. There's a line. So let's take the rest of this bracket and crap out of here. All right, guys. There it is. There's the old line. Audi, Audi, Audi. The new one. I put the new bracket in lightly, but. Alright guys, so there it is. We got her complete. The line is in. You can see it runs through there. Looks good. That piece just kind of goes straight back. Comes through. And I put this guy at a slight angle because I wanted to have it go there instead of, you know, I don't know if that's right or wrong. We'll leave it alone and see. But I think that's it, guys. I think we've pretty much nailed it. So I'm gonna go do the other side and not show you any of that because I don't think there's a point to that. So yay. Alright guys, that's it for this video. We're pretty much finished up. I drove the car. It drives pretty good. It needs an alignment. We're gonna take it down to the alignment shop. I'll get a video of that for you guys later on. And we'll see what they say about that. They're gonna put a lot of caster in it because usually that's what drag setup's like. And I'll ask them what they do to the rear because I'm not quite sure what they could do to the rear for a like straight line or drag racing type alignment. So we're gonna have that done. But so far, I really like the way the car drives. The new toe links, it's crazy how much a toe link will change the feel of the car. We got it pretty close to where it was. And so I know the car is going to drive pretty similar, but the way that it just feels on the road between these stock rods and these aftermarket, you know, beefier ones that are lighter as well, I feel like the car, the suspension responds better, guys. Like in turns, I can really feel, even through these softer tires, I can really feel the road. It feels very, very planted, and it reacts, I feel like, very well to the road. So I'm very pleased with that. Very, very happy with the way that it turned out, guys. And I also want to let you guys know the whole reason we did this and went into doing these arms and changing the brake lines and all that is because we are putting a 15-inch wheel on this car. So it's getting a 15-inch rear, a 17-inch front. They're going to be 10 inches wide, I believe, in the back, 4 or 4.5 inches wide in the front. They are a Weld, what is it, the Weld S76, and the rears are going to be a 15 with a bead lock, single bead lock on the outside, obviously, and the fronts are going to be just a plain 17. So, spent a lot of money on those wheels and tires. The tires for it are going to be Hoosiers, 28 by, they're going to be 28 inches tall by 10.5 inches wide, I believe, in the rear, and the fronts are like 27.6 or 27.7 inches tall by 4 or 4.5 inches wide. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to work on the car. You can see the front wheels, I think on a 28-inch tall tire is going to have a little bit of, we may be a little tight up here, but luckily I'm hoping it'll be in a little bit offset wise so we're not so tight up in here, but we're going to have to see, guys. We'll just see what they end up looking like, but I cannot wait for the rears, guys. The rears are going to look unfreaking believable, and having a 15 is going to be awesome. But one more thing we're going to have to do is where we put the new, you can see that's the new toe link right here on the knuckle. We're going to have to grind that guy back. So when the wheels get here, I'm going to do it then because I don't want to be taking them on and off a bunch of times or even grind this and grind too much or not enough. I want it to be just enough where we have maybe a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch of clearance. I want to have more than enough clearance just for flex in case something happens. But I definitely don't want to be scratching my brand new wheels all up. So the day that we get the wheels is the day that I'm going to either do it here in my garage or possibly at the shop that I work at, jack the car up, pull the wheels off, and I have my grinder here, or I'll have a grinder at the shop and we're just gonna go to town and grind it as far back as we need to and make it look perfect. So thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this video, again guys, hit that big fat thumbs up button, boom, 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 down below. And on top of that, hit that subscribe so you can see the new wheels and tires when they get here, and hit that bell so you for sure get to see it, because if you don't, you may miss it. So even if you're subscribed, you may not get to see my new video pop up in your trending or your tab over here. So go ahead and do that, guys. And I will see you guys in the next one. Again, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day. Now get the heck out of here.